The box wasn't particularly heavy, but my mother's disappointment made it weigh a ton as I carried it into our family's elegant foyer. Another package delivery to the house where I'd grown up. The house that represented everything my parents thought I should be but wasn't. Another delivery, Olivia? Mom's voice dripped with barely concealed disdain. I thought you were just doing this temporary thing until you found a real job. I set the package down carefully, adjusting my company jacket. Swift Logistics, the name I'd chosen when I started with just one van and a dream. This is my real job, Mom. My company's growing faster than a delivery service, she interrupted, shaking her head. 4 years at Princeton, MBA from Stanford, and you're delivering packages like somewhat, Mom. I straightened up, meeting her eyes. Some entrepreneur building a revolutionary logistics company. She turned away, unable to even look at me. Your sister's law firm just made her junior partner. Your brother's investment bank is featuring him in their annual report. And you're wearing a uniform and carrying boxes. I bit back the urge to tell her about the artificial intelligence system we'd developed that was revolutionizing delivery routing. About the fleet of 500 vehicles now bearing my company's logo. About the venture capital firms begging to invest in our next funding round. Instead, I just signed my delivery confirmation tablet. Have a nice day, Mom. Back in my van. Not really my van anymore since I had a whole fleet, but I still did personal deliveries to stay connected to the business. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from my CFO, 2 from our lead investor, and a text from my brother Thomas. Family dinner tonight. Mom's upset about seeing you in that delivery uniform again. Maybe it's time to admit this experiment failed. Experiment. That's what they called my company. As if revolutionizing the logistics industry was just a phase I needed to get out of my system. I drove to Swift Logistics headquarters. Not that my family had ever visited. The gleaming 12-story building in downtown Seattle housed over 400 employees, our AI development team, and the most sophisticated logistics management system in the industry. Miss Chin, my assistant, greeted me as I stepped off the executive elevator. The board is waiting in the conference room, and the Goldman Sachs team is here for the IPO discussion. I smiled, thinking of Thomas's investment banking success. If he only knew his little sister was about to launch one of the biggest tech IPOs of the year. How are the new route optimization numbers looking? I asked, heading toward the conference room. Incredible. The AI system has reduced delivery times by 47% in test markets. UPS is asking for another meeting about licensing the technology. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. I let it go to voicemail, already knowing what she'd say. More comparisons to my siblings' respectable careers. More hints about corporate job openings. More shame about her daughter wasting her education on a delivery service. The board meeting was quick and productive. Our numbers were exceeding all projections. The AI-driven logistics system was revolutionizing the industry. Swift Logistics wasn't just delivering packages. We were transforming how goods moved around the world. The Financial Times wants to do a cover story, my PR director announced. They're calling Swift the Amazon of logistics with our integrated AI system. Hold off for now, I said, thinking of the IPO preparations. Let's keep things quiet until next quarter. That evening, I changed out of my Swift uniform into designer business wear for the family dinner. Not that it would matter. In their eyes, I'd always be the delivery girl who embarrassed them at country club gatherings. Our family's mansion was lit up like a corporate headquarters, which was fitting since every dinner felt like a board meeting where my life choices were scrutinized and found wanting. Olivia, my sister Margaret called out as I entered. She air-kissed my cheek, her law firm partner status practically radiating from her. Finally gave up the delivery route for the day? Something like that, I murmured, accepting a glass of wine from the housekeeper. Thomas stood by the fireplace, every inch the successful investment banker in his bespoke suit. You missed the club luncheon last week. Mrs. Harrison was asking about you. I covered by saying you were traveling. Thanks, I said dryly. Wouldn't want anyone to know I was building a successful company. Successful? Mom swept into the room, elegant as always in her dinner attire. Darling, driving a delivery van is hardly. Dinner is served, the housekeeper announced, saving me from another lecture. We took our usual seats at the formal dining table. Mom and Dad at the ends, Margaret and Thomas on one side, me alone on the other. The empty seat beside me seemed to emphasize my status as the family disappointment. Margaret, tell us about your latest case, Mom prompted, beaming with pride. As my sister launched into a detailed description of corporate law minutiae, I checked my phone under the table. A message from my CFO. Final IPO valuation numbers in. Underwriters projecting opening market cap at $12 billion. Olivia, Dad's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. Phones away at dinner. Just because you work in service doesn't mean you can forget basic manners. I slipped the phone back into my pocket, suppressing a smile. My service company was about to be worth more than Margaret's entire law firm. Actually, Thomas added, straightening his tie, I might have a solution. My bank is looking for project managers in our logistics division. With your background, I'm sure I could. I'm good, thanks. I took a sip of wine. My company's keeping me pretty busy. Company, Margaret scoffed. You make it sound so corporate. You deliver packages, Olivia. It's hardly Goldman Sachs. If she only knew that Goldman Sachs was currently in my office, begging to underwrite our IPO. Speaking of packages, Mom interjected, the Andersons saw you making a delivery at their house last week. In uniform. Do you know how embarrassing that was to explain at the club? I set down my fork. What did you tell them? I said you were doing research for a consulting project. I could hardly tell them my Stanford MBA daughter was actually working as a delivery person. The shame in her voice was palpable. 4 years of building a revolutionary company, and all she saw was a daughter in a delivery uniform. You know, Thomas said, checking his banker's watch, I heard an interesting rumor at work today. Some tech logistics company is preparing for a major IPO. Supposedly revolutionary AI system for delivery optimization. Could be a good investment opportunity. I nearly choked on my wine. He was talking about my company, not realizing his embarrassing delivery service sister was about to become one of his bank's biggest IPO stories. That's nice, dear, Mom said dismissively. But let's talk about something important. Margaret, when is the law firm's charity gala? As the conversation drifted back to my siblings' achievements, I thought about the morning's board meeting. About the Forbes reporter waiting to interview me. About the valuation numbers that would soon make headlines. My phone buzzed again, this time with an alert from our AI system. A potential routing issue in our Southeast division. I stood up. Sorry, have to take care of something at work. What could be so urgent about delivering packages? Margaret asked, perfectly plucked eyebrows raised. You'd be surprised, I replied, heading for the door. Sometimes the biggest things come in small packages. Olivia, Mom called after me, please tell me you're at least thinking about real career options. I hate seeing you waste your potential like this. I paused in the doorway, thinking of the IPO announcement scheduled for next week. Of the Fortune 500 ranking that would soon have the Chin name on it. Just not the way my family expected. Don't worry, Mom. I think you'll be surprised by what I've been delivering. The morning of Swift Logistics IPO, I stood in my office overlooking Seattle's skyline, watching the sunrise paint the city gold. In a few hours, my embarrassing delivery service would debut on the New York Stock Exchange, transforming the logistics industry forever. Miss Chin. My assistant knocked softly. CNBC is set up for the live interview and the Wall Street Journal reporter is waiting. Also, your brother's investment bank called again about the IPO allocation. I smiled, imagining Thomas's face when he realized the mysterious logistics company he'd been chasing was his sister's delivery service. Tell them I'll be right there. And Sarah? Send me the final press package. My phone buzzed, another message from Mom. Olivia, Mrs. Peterson saw you in that delivery uniform again. Please, if you need help finding a proper job. I set the phone aside and opened the press release that would soon hit every major news outlet. Swift Logistics, Swift, debuts in largest tech IPO of year, revolutionary AI-driven logistics platform valued at $12 billion. Founder and CEO Olivia Chin becomes youngest female Fortune 500 CEO. The CNBC interview went smoothly. I explained our AI technology, our growth metrics, our vision for the future of logistics. The reporter was particularly interested in our proprietary routing algorithms that had cut delivery times in half. And you built this from a single delivery van? He asked, clearly impressed. Sometimes the best way to revolutionize an industry is to understand it from the ground up, I replied, thinking of all the deliveries I still did personally. Halfway through the interview, my phone lit up with messages from Thomas. What? The Swift Logistics IPO. That's your company? Why didn't you tell me? I've been working on this deal for months. Mom and Dad are watching CNBC right now. I focused on the interview, explaining how Swift's technology was transforming not just delivery services, but the entire supply chain industry. Our AI system wasn't just plotting routes, it was predicting demand patterns, optimizing warehouse locations, and revolutionizing how goods moved around the world. As soon as the interview ended, my CFO rushed in. We're opening at $145 per share, 50% above the IPO price. The market's going crazy. I checked my phone again. Dozens of missed calls from family members. Text messages from Margaret about keeping secrets. And one voicemail from my mother, her voice shaking. Olivia, we're watching the financial news. Your company, the IPO, please call us. But I had more important things to focus on. The opening bell ceremony was streaming live from New York, where our leadership team was ready to ring in Swift's public trading debut. On the massive screen in my office, I watched as our company logo lit up Times Square. Trading has begun, my CFO announced. Stocks already up 75%. You're officially a billionaire, Olivia. I thought about all the family dinners where they dismissed my work. All the country club whispers about the Chin daughter, playing delivery person. All the times my mother had tried to hide my occupation from her friends. Miss Chin. My assistant appeared again. Your parents and siblings are here. They're quite insistent. I straightened my Swift Logistics jacket, the same uniform my mother had been so ashamed of. Send them in. They burst into my office like a storm of designer clothes and disbelief. Mom stopped short, taking in the expansive space, the wall of awards, the live stock ticker showing Swift's soaring share price. Olivia, she whispered. This is your company? Welcome to Swift Logistics World Headquarters, I said calmly. Or as you preferred to call it, my delivery service. Thomas stepped forward, still clutching his banker's portfolio. Why didn't you tell us? I've been analyzing this IPO for weeks. The AI technology, the growth metrics, the market penetration. It's revolutionary. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. When all you saw was your little sister delivering packages? Margaret sank into one of my office's leather chairs. The Financial Times article. That was about you. The future of logistics. Turns out delivering packages was more than just an embarrassment to the family name, I said, turning to face the wall of screens showing Swift's operations across the country. Our AI system has transformed how goods move around the world. Those packages you were so ashamed of me delivering? They were building this. My mother stepped closer, her hand trembling as she touched my company jacket. All those deliveries. You were the CEO. Why did you keep doing them? Because great leaders understand their business from the ground up. Every package I delivered taught me something about making this company better. The office door opened again. This time it was Mrs. Peterson, one of Mom's country club friends whose home I'd delivered to just last week. But she wasn't here for a delivery. Olivia, congratulations on the IPO. She rushed forward to hug me. I just had to come thank you in person. Our company's partnership with Swift has transformed our entire distribution system. Mom's face went pale. Partnership? Oh yes, Mrs. Peterson gushed. Swift's technology has cut our logistics costs by 40%. Olivia's been personally overseeing the integration. Such a brilliant young CEO. After Mrs. Peterson left, my family stood in stunned silence. The stock ticker kept climbing. My phone kept buzzing with congratulations from business leaders and media outlets. The charity gala, Mom finally said, her voice small. The law firm event next week. Would you consider being our keynote speaker? I looked at my sister, who had so proudly announced her junior partnership at that same dinner where they'd mocked my delivery uniform. Sorry, I'm speaking at the World Economic Forum that week. But I'm sure Margaret will do a great job. Olivia, Dad stepped forward. We were wrong. So wrong. About everything. No, Dad. You were wrong about what success looks like. About thinking there's only one path to making a difference in the world. I picked up a small package from my desk. The last delivery I'd made before the IPO. Every box, every delivery, every route we optimize. It's all part of building something revolutionary. You just couldn't see it because it didn't fit your definition of success. Thomas was still staring at the stock ticker. My bank's analysts are calling Swift the most innovative logistics company in history. That's my little sister. Not so little anymore, I smiled. In fact, Swift just acquired your bank's logistics division. Surprise. The rest of the day passed in a blur of media interviews, congratulatory calls, and stock price updates. By closing bell, Swift Logistics had become one of the most successful tech IPOs in history. That evening, as the city lights twinkled below my office window, I changed into my delivery uniform one last time. There was still one package I needed to deliver personally. I found my mother in their empty mansion, watching CNBC's coverage of Swift's historic trading day. Special delivery, I said, holding out a small box. Inside was my old Stanford MBA diploma, along with a note. Some deliveries change the world. Love, your daughter, the CEO. She looked up at me, tears in her eyes. I was so focused on the uniform I couldn't see the empire you were building. That's the thing about packages, Mom. You never know which one might contain something revolutionary. 1 year later, Swift Logistics had transformed from a delivery service into a global technology leader. Our AI system had become the industry standard. The Fortune 500 ranking that had once seemed like an impossible dream now listed Swift firmly in the top 100. And my family? They finally understood that success doesn't always wear a lawyer's suit or carry a banker's portfolio. Sometimes it wears a delivery uniform and carries the future, one package at a time. The Swift Logistics jacket still hangs in my office, not as a reminder of shame, but as a symbol of how every great journey starts with a single step. Or in my case, a single delivery. Because sometimes the biggest success stories aren't about escaping your roots, but about growing them into something beyond anyone's imagination. Even if that means delivering a few packages along the way.